Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Let's all take a big, deep, snow-filled air breath here in on May 20th in Denver, Colorado. It's snowing like crazy outside, but it's so nice to have you all here. Take a big, deep breath. Welcome, Shabbat. Come, let us sing a song of Shabbat. Come, let us sing a song of Shabbat. Sing with us. Come, let us sing a song of Shabbat. Come, let us sing a song of Shabbat. Mizmor shir b'yom haShabbat. Mizmor shir b'yom haShabbat. Tov lehodot l'Adonai u'zamer l'shimcha. Elyon, Tov lehodot l'Adonai u'zamer l'shimcha. Elyon, mizmor shir b'yom haShabbat. Mizmor shir b'yom haShabbat. Praise and sing songs to your name, Holy One. It's good to give thanks, to give praise and sing songs to your name, Holy One. Mizmor shir b'yom haShabbat. Song of Shabbat. Come, let us sing a song of Shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.
You all get 10 extra points for coming to services when it's snowing outside. In a game where points don't matter and they're not assigned. So nice to see everyone, and it's nice and warm in here, and I hope wherever you are joining us from, you are nice and warm and safe this chilly evening. I am Rabbi Emily Hyatt. This is Steve Brodsky, our cantorial soloist and musical director. That's Ken Mervine down there on the piano, and we are happy to be praying with you on this beautiful snowy evening. A couple of quick housekeeping things. Should there be an emergency where we have to leave this warm sanctuary and go outside, we will do so by going out the doors under the exit signs. Those are actually secret doors. If you need to use the restroom, it is out and to your right down the hall. And finally, if you have a phone with you, a cell phone, we ask that you do me a favor quickly and make sure that it is not going to ring or make any noise during our services. We are very grateful for that. And as usual, differently today than it's felt dark all day. I walked into my office this morning and it was so cloudy and I was like, what's wrong with my lights? And there was nothing wrong with my lights. The sun just wasn't shining, which happens so infrequently. And so as we bring in Shabbat, we do that always, but especially on a day where there's a little less sun, by lighting our Shabbat candles. And so it is my great honor to invite up two of our wonderful lay leaders, Bruce Plotkin and Judy Altenberg, to help us light our Shabbat candles. Thank you. So let's bring in Shabbat by reading responsively. Shabbat sings to us as she approaches, an ancient song of joy and desire, a quiet song of hope and anticipation. Yes, Shabbat sings as she arrives, her scarves dancing around her in the gentle breeze. Together, Shabbat sings to us when she arrives, a sweet song of love and reunion, a simple song of laughter and surrender. Yes, Shabbat sings with us, joyful, exuberant, as we dance together in the glow of sunset. It is good to give thanks to God. And so we prepare to sing the words of Lecha Dodi, anticipating the arrival of Shabbat as it continues to descend on us with great joy and excitement.
Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Bene Shabbat, Nekabela. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Bene Shabbat, Nekabela. Sing that together. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Bene Shabbat, Nekabela. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Bene Shabbat, Nekabela.
Shamor v'zachor b'dibur achad, Hishmianu el ha'miuchad, Adonai echad u'shmo echad, L'shem u'tiferet v'litzilah.
Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Bene Shabbat, Nekabela. Lecha Dodi, Likrat Kala, Bene Shabbat, Nekabela. Likrat Shabbat, Lechu v'necha, Ki mekor לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
התעוררי, התעוררי, כי באורך נעמי אורי, 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 שיר דברי,
כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. We rise as we are able. We face the entrance to our sanctuary to welcome the Shabbat pride. Oi v'shalom, ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'tzola, toch emunei am segula. Boi chala, boi chala. Lecha dodi לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. We remain standing for the Baruch Hu are called to worship. Yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Lai lai lai, lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai.
Let me dance in the sky with prayers and blessings for the ones I love, raising these hopes to the gates of heaven together. Let me sing among the stars with mystery and magic for the holiness around us, raising these dreams to the gates of redemption. For there is music in the dawn and blessings at dusk, a radiance of glory, carrying our voices beyond the firmament to the one who created all being together. Source and shelter, you set the course of sun and moon, bringing on the evening twilight, calling forth time and space with majesty and wonder. Blessed are you, soul of the universe, summoning the heavens, declaring the reign of holiness. Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on the evening.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amacha ahavta. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love and unending love. Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amacha ahavta. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love and unending love.
Love abundant, love unstinting, our God, you have enfolded us in love. Tender compassion beyond all bounds, your precious gift. Our fathers and mothers gave you their trust, and you gave them Torah, laws by which to live. For their sake, teach us as well. Grace us with your guidance. Loving Father, merciful Mother of us all, grant us clear understanding that we may listen, learn, and teach, preserve, practice, and fulfill with love every lesson of your Torah. May learning your Torah light up our eyes. May our hearts embrace your mitzvot. Unite us in love and reverence for you, that we may never feel ashamed of our deeds. Baruch atah Adonai, habocher ba'amo Yisrael be'ahava. Our praise to you, Adonai. You have singled out your people Israel with love.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amacha ahavta. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love and unending love. Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amacha ahavta. We are loved, loved, loved by unending love and unending love. Open up our eyes, teach us how to live. Fill our hearts with joy and all the love you have to give. Gather us in peace as you lead us to your name, and we will know that you are one, and we will know that you are one. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. be seated. We'll continue together with the chanting of Ve'ahavta. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha ve'hayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavcha hayom al levavecha Vishinantam levanecha vidibarta bam beshivtecha bevetecha uvlechtecha vaderech uvshochbecha uvkumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha vehayu letotafot bein einecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha Uvisharecha leman tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'item kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem.
God did not lead us by the nearer way when Pharaoh let the people go at last, but roundabout, by way of the wilderness. Pillars of fire and cloud marking night and day to the edge of the flood tide, uncrossable and vast, together. If God had led us by the nearer way, we cried, we wouldn't die here. Let Egypt oppress us as it will. Let us return to the past. But we have come out by way of the wilderness, in fear, on faith, free now, because we say we are free, no longer the unchosen, the outcast. God did not lead us by the nearer way, but into rising waters which do not part unless, with an outstretched arm, we step forward and stand fast. Roundabout, by way of the wilderness, we have come, blessed with love, to bless our God, who did not lead us by the nearer way, but roundabout, by way of the wilderness.
Ya ila 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 ya ila 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 ya la 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 ya la ila la ila ya ila ya la la ya ila la ila ya la 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 Ichamocha ba'elim Adonai Ichamocha nedar b'kodesh Doratehi lo sefele Doratehi lo sefele Malchutecha ra'u banecha Okeayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam Ze'elianu ve'amru Ze'elianu ve'amru Adonai imlo le'olam va'ed Adonai imlo le'olam va'ed Ya ila 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 Ya ila 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 ya la 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 Ya la ila la ila ya ila ya la la Ya ila la ila ya la 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 la
Thus it is said, Adonai redeemed Jacob from a hand stronger than his own. Praised are you, Adonai, for redeeming Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. May we lie down this night in peace and rise up to life renewed. May this night spread over us a canopy of calm, lifted by the blessing of rest. There will come a time when the morning will bring no word of war, famine, or anguish. There will come a dawn to rejoice in the peace of mind, heart, and being. Praised are you, the source of renewal within us, for the night's rest and for the promise of peace.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, l'shalom. Lehamitenu shomreinu l'chaim. Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Shelter us beneath your wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. 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 Amen.
There is a chain of both unimaginable delicacy and infinite strength bound 13 times from head to heart to hands to you. It stretches back further than time until it reaches those who first cried out your name. I see them in the mirror, hear their voices in the night. I feel their joy and taste what they found bitter as if it were iron on my tongue. Together we are whole. Together we remember. And so we sing your praises. We rise as we are able for the tefillah.
Adonai sifatai tivta ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai sifatai tivta ufi agi tehilatecha. Open up my lips and let my mouth declare your praises. Adonai sifatai tivta ufi agi tehilatecha. Adonai sifatai tivta ufi agi tehilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'koneh hakol, v'zocher chastei avot v'imahot, u'mevi geula livnei v'nehem, lema'an shemo be'ahava, melech ozer u'moshia u'magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, ve'ezrat Sarah. Ata gibor le'olam Adonai, mechaye hakol ata rav lehoshia, morid hatal, mechalkel chaim bechesed, mechaye hakol berachamim rabim, somech noflim v'rofeh cholim, umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato lishenei afar michamocha ba'al gevurot umidom elach melech memit umechaye umatzmiach Yeshua v'ne'eman ata lehachayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai, mechaye hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, u'kadoshim b'chol yom yehallelu selah. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'el hakadosh.
You may be seated. We take a moment now to say a prayer for healing, a prayer for all those in our world who need our prayers, those who, wherever they are in the world, whatever is causing them to need healing, deserve a moment of our prayers. And so, as always, we have 2 verses of this prayer, and in between them, we read a list of those that we know of who need those prayers, and we invite you at that time to say any other names of those you are thinking of as well, so that we can pray with you.
Bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen.
Today we are praying for Zachary Hoffman, David Karner, Jean Silber, Scott Englander, Stacy Hoffman, Phyllis Schulman, James Tepper, Alan Davidson, Douglas Hamilton, Ira Levine, Leslie Rohde, Richard Seedroff, David Freed, Betty Heller, Marcine Goldman, Mary Ann Tiedemann, David Cantor, William Bill Silvers, Monica Koo, Sam Cheris, Ira Baleen, Tammy Abramovitz, Patrick Pateo, Janet Barker Gross, Peggy Gibson, Alex Busnovetsky, Lori Goldman, Laura Culver, Carol Weiner, Jared Siegel, Arnold Brodsky, Yana Vishnitsky, Peggy Lehman, Rebecca Zuckerman, Marie Unell, Sheila Rosenberg, Carol Plotka, Hawk Kershaw, and Arlene Fink. If there are others for whom you are saying this prayer for healing on this day, I invite you to say their names out loud. If you're at home, say those names out loud, type them in, hold them in your heart so that we can hold them with you. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekor HaRefuah. Blessed are you, Adonai, the source of all healing.
Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We take a moment now for silent prayer.
Ose shalom bimroma, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru Shalom bimroma, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru Shalom bimroma, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru. Amen.
So there's a story about two people who were in a really big fight with each other. For years, they had been fighting with each other. And every time they saw each other, they had the same argument. One of them said, people grow from the ground up. It starts with their feet, and as they grow from the ground up. And the other one said, that's ridiculous. They don't grow from the ground up, they grow from the top of their head down. Now, if you've ever heard of this city in these funny stories that we tell sometimes, us rabbis, we can't help ourselves, it's a city called Chelm. And these are not particularly logical arguments that people are having, but anyway, and whatever. They're not logical arguments. So they go at it, these two, all the time. Every time they see each other, from the ground up, from the head down, from the ground up, from the head down. And one day, they say, okay, fine, if we're gonna have this argument, we need to bring some evidence. We have to explain why we believe what we believe. And so the one who says that we all grow from our feet up says, here's how I know this. If you watch people when they're standing places or walking places, you'll notice they're all different heights. Their heads are in different places, but all of their feet are on the ground, on the same level. Therefore, there's no other option but for them to have started at the ground and then grown up from there, and everybody stops at a different place, which is kind of good logic. And the other one says, no, look at them. Look at all those same people that you're talking about. Look at every single one of them. Look at their feet, which you say are all at the same level. All of their pants are different lengths. And you can see a different amount of their socks. Therefore, it is obvious that they start at their heads and they grow down from there. And that's why their pants are all different lengths. And so they went on and on and on like this for a really long time. And then finally, they did the only thing that one can do in this moment. They decided that they would go see the rabbi, which I'm glad wasn't me. So I'll tell you the story of what happened, but I don't know how I would have answered it had it been me. So they went to the rabbi and they explained their argument, and they explained why it is that they each believed you grow from the ground up and you grow from the top down, from the head down. And the rabbi, being very rabbinic, looked at them and said, my friends, it is not that humans grow from the top down or from the ground up. It is only true that they grow from the inside out. It's very rabbinic. We don't solve the problem. We just give you something that makes you go, ah, and then we get to avoid answering the question. So in this week's Torah portion, just hold on to that for 1 second. In this week's Torah portion, Bahar, we are reading about quite an interesting phenomenon in Jewish law, and it is the rules that are given about the Shemitah year. Shemitah is a year that exists every 7 years in Jewish tradition and says that in the 7th year, you have a Shabbat, Shabbaton, a Shabbat of Shabbats, the Shabbatiest Shabbat you can imagine. And you do that by not only allowing each of the people who would ordinarily observe a Shabbat to rest, but the entire 7th year, you let the land rest. And so, according to the rules of the Shemitah year, we don't plant our fields. In the 7th year, we let them lie fallow. And it's an interesting rule because it only applies technically to fields that exist in the biblical land of Israel. And so if you're outside the land of Israel, your land does not have to observe Shabbat, whereas people, anywhere they are, according to the Torah, are supposed to observe a day of rest. The land only in Israel. So it's a very interesting thing. So what does it mean that we're not supposed to plant the fields? We're not supposed to sow them. We're not supposed to prune our vineyards. What does it mean to prune a vineyard? I don't know. Somebody will explain it to me after, I'm sure. We don't touch it. We don't mess with the land. We don't ask things of it. Why? Well, there's a lot of different answers that are given in our commentary, none of them agricultural. Fascinatingly, one of them, we let the land lie fallow so that during this whole year, the farmer, instead of serving the soil or the land, which requires us to cultivate it, will turn their efforts to serving God directly instead. So we don't plant the fields so that we can spend all of our time paying attention to God, which in biblical times is deeply troubling because the Shemitah year, this sabbatical year, often led to famine, not having enough food, right? They didn't have enough systems in place to compensate for it. So the idea that we're supposed to focus on God is hard when we're hungry. It's like the epitome of Yom Kippur. Fascinatingly, the only other day or period of time in the year that is called Shabbat Shabbaton, a Shabbat of like the Shabbatiest Shabbat, also when we're hungry on Yom Kippur. So it isn't later that we have this idea that the Shemitah year, the sabbatical year, actually might be rooted in some agricultural wisdom. So here's what it means according to Wikipedia, to let your land lie fallow. I had to Google it, because I know, but I don't know. So it means that letting your land lie fallow means that you are employing a farming technique in which arable land is left without sowing for one or more vegetative cycles. The goal of fallowing is to allow the land to recover and to store organic matter while retaining moisture and disrupting the life cycles of pathogens by temporarily removing their hosts. If you don't touch the land, good things happen to it. It fixes itself. It restores itself. It stores moisture. It gets more nutrients. It holds on to the organic matter. Like when you compost things and you put them in the dirt, it lets them grow. So letting the land lie fallow actually has enormous benefit. If you have pests and you don't plant anything, the pests have nothing to feed on, and so they die, and then the next year you're pestless. There's brilliance to this. But nobody in the Torah talks about the agricultural brilliance of it. They talk about the God of it, which is really interesting. Because perhaps, like so many things, it's actually both. We're commanded, people, that on Shabbat we're supposed to rest. Whenever we get here, we stand up here, we look at the light, we take this big, deep Shabbat breath. What does your Peloton instructor say when you take a deep breath? Hold on, it's important.
It tells your body that you're safe, and it makes it easier to calm down.
This was the inspiration for this whole thing, was that Steve was talking about his Peloton instructor during a bar mitzvah rehearsal this morning. When you take a deep breath, according to Dennis Morton, it tells your body that you're safe, and it allows you to calm down and relax. So on Shabbat, we take that big deep breath, and it tells us that we're safe, and it allows us to recharge and relax. And then every seventh year, we let the land rest, and when it does, I don't know, we tell the land, the soil, it's okay. The soil changes. It recovers, it collects nutrients, it builds enormous capacity for growth that it didn't have. It lets go of the stuff that it doesn't need and doesn't benefit from anymore. And so let's take the science that Wikipedia told us and apply it to us. If that's what the land gets when it lies fallow on a sabbatical year, what do we get when we take a minute for ourselves on Shabbat? We change. We have more room for nutrients. We get rid of what we don't need anymore. We retain the things that sustain us, the moisture, the nutrients, and we let the pests, whatever's not good for us, go. And all of a sudden, we have enormous capacity to grow things that we didn't have before we stopped. Humans don't grow from the top down or from the bottom up. They grow from the inside out. So when the soil that is inside of you has used up all of its resources and it really needs a Shabbat and it has nothing left to give and no moisture, what do you have to do? You have to let it lie still for a moment. And so here we are on this Shabbat, imagining that we have let our insides rest for a second, that we have let our inner soil lie fallow for a moment. And during the remainder of this Shabbat, we get to decide what we want to put back in. With what do we want to enrich our soil? What nutrients do we need? It turns out this is a Shemitah year. Also, we're in 5782. We're in a Shemitah year. It's like the 826th Shemitah year ever. So we're in both. This is the Shabbat of Shabbats all year. So what are we going to put back inside after we take that breath and we let it go and we let it rest? And then we refill it with all of the nutrients that we need to do what we need in the world. So what are we going to fill it with? Well, some obvious answers. Perhaps we should fill our insides with kindness, with taking care of the people that we love, with all of the things that build us and edify us. We should fill our insides with love of compassion, love of our neighbor and compassion for the stranger, right? Those are things that we really could use in the world right now. I don't believe that the nutrients are all positives. I think that we have the right to feel a lot of anger and hurt right now in the world. I think there are a lot of things that are happening that make us hurt and make us furious. So let that fill you too. When you are filled with the things that make you want to speak up and speak out and protest or change things, and you have the space for them, we change things. And we make the world a little bit different. And so I hope that we also fill ourselves with the empowerment that perhaps we need to do some of that being angry and speaking and protesting and changing. And so my prayer for us all on this Shabbat, as we see that outside the moisture is falling, we need it so bad, and yet we know that it's going to be hard to absorb. Our land is dry, and so that means that it won't automatically just sink in and make everything hydrated. There has to be room for it. And so inside ourselves, where we grow from the inside out, and in our land where we crave this kind of moisture and hydration and sustaining gift, let this Shabbat of snow be full of nutrients for all of us. Let it make our soil richer and more fertile. Let it feed us so that we can grow in our capacity for love and in our need to make this world a little different and a little bit better. And may each of you have a Shabbat that allows you to be nutrient rich and make the changes in your life or in your world that you need as well. Shabbat shalom.
You can just forward the royalty checks to my mailbox. Thank you, Rabbi, for those inspiring words. We're going to take a moment now to count the Omer. We have been on a journey from Passover to Shavuot, a journey from the moment when we remember how we came out of slavery in Egypt, moved into freedom, and our eventual goal is to receive the Torah at Mount Sinai on the holiday of Shavuot coming up in just a few weeks. 7 weeks, 49 days. We count the days up from 1 to 49. And we are now at day 35. Believe it or not, it's flying by. We have been using this wonderful resource to help us understand the concepts behind the counting of the Omer. And this book is written by Rabbi Karen Kedar, and it's called Omer Accounting. And Rabbi Kedar has identified a theme for each of the 7 weeks, and our theme for week 5, which we are now at the end of, is imagine. And in the book, in the intro to this section of the book, Rabbi Kedar writes about how God declared that the land that we were promised was flowing with milk and honey, right? Do you think that there were really rivers of milk coming down off the mountains? Think that there were lakes of honey just waiting for us to eat our fill? No, we know that that wasn't the case. And in our lives today, when we say, "Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, who brings forth bread from the earth." Do any of you have a bread tree growing in your backyard? We know that bread doesn't grow from the earth. God doesn't bring bread from the earth. God gives the raw materials, wheat and yeast and other things that we need so that we make bread. The idea is that we are partners with God in creating these things, right? And that we have to use our imagination to look at the world and see what the world can be and to dream big so that we can then make those dreams a reality and bring them into the world. So this week, Rabbi Kedar writes, we live one small moment at a time, one breath, one glance, one thought at a time. And yet, doesn't life feel like a freight train, a long, deafening, fast blur? Is it trite to say that you are the conductor and the engine and the track? You own this train and its cargo, its route. This is your life to imagine. Do not neglect the details. Do not turn away from the quiet voices within. They speak of love, of destiny, of goodness. Do not silence the thoughts that tell you to slow down. Take that big, deep breath. They want to capture your attention and show you something grand. Do not ignore the heart that desires to rejoice. Listen to the voices of the children at play. They delight. Learn to be delighted. Listen to the early morning hum of your home, the quiet sounds before others awake. Notice that what you see all around is beauty. No matter where you are, no matter what your state, right before your eyes, beauty awaits. Because yours is the breath, the glance, the one simple, precious thought. Yours is the ability, ours, each of ours, is the ability to imagine the world that we want for ourselves and to then go out and create that world. And that's our task as we count these days from slavery through our journey to receiving words of Torah. We'll say together the blessing for the counting of the Omer. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sefirat ha'omer. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who has sanctified us with your commandments and commanded us to count the Omer. And as we fulfill the commandment together, we say, Hayom chamisha ushloshim yom shehem chamisha shavuot la'omer. Today is 35 days, which is 5 weeks of the Omer. I invite you all to rise as we begin to conclude our service. We will open the ark and join together in Aleinu. I don't need this.
You good?
I'm good.
Let's go.
Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol, la'ateit gedula le'otzer bereshit, shelo asanu kigoyeh ha'aratzot, ve'lo samanu kemishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, ve'gor aleinu kechol hamunah. V'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'mod Avitim, Lifnei Melech, Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
You may be seated. We take a moment now, as we always do at the end of our services together, to turn our thoughts to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. And so on this Shabbat, before we speak the names of those who we have loved and lost, we have 10 names to add to our list, 10 from the city of Buffalo, New York, who we lost last week when they were murdered in a grocery store because of who they are and the neighborhood that they lived in. And so we hold their memories, though we didn't get to know them, in our hearts as well. And we're remembering Aaron Salter, Ruth Whitfield, Catherine Cat Massey, Hurley Young, Hayward Patterson, Celestine Cheney, Roberta Drury, Margus D. Morrison, Andre McNeil, and Geraldine Talley. We add to that list those who we lost in this last week: Dr. William Joseph Rappaport. Those that we have lost in the last 30 days: Bradford Hammer, Nachum Dov ben Mordechai Leib Eti Shendel, Harold Malin, Cyril Newman, Sheldon Sheftel, Eileen Harris, Madeline Kesner, Vivian Witkoff. And then we add to the list of those for whom this Shabbat marks the Yortzeit, or the anniversary of their passing: Edith Abelson, Michael Altenberg, Ben Balaban, Gilbert Balkin, Irma Rose Barnett, Coleman Sanford Barnett, Chaplain Donald Beers, Naomi Ray Bennett, Dora Barenbeim, Jacob Berkowitz, Hannah Schwader-Berry, Bet Ann Bloom, Rhoda Bloomberg, Sylvia Davis Bosco, Dr. Maurice Chernick, Stephen B. Choten, Sarah B. Cohan, Noah Warren Cohen, Charles S. Cohn, Jonathan David Cutler, Terry Dufresne, Francis Pinky Eber, Renee Englander, Minnie Epcar, G. David Epstein, Howard Fleischman, Amanda Flesher, Harry Freeman, Louis Gersten, Nehemias Heyman, Arthur Huss, Abraham L. Jacobson, Anna Cantor, Bruce Katchen, Elaine Kaufman, Bertha H. Kleiner, Faye E. Commisero, Irving A. Kornfeld, Samuel Chris, Frida Lekach, Lynn W. Lehman, Nell Levy, Jacqueline Lewin, Eva S. Melnick, Michael A. Moore, Shirley R. Newstetter, Hyman Olkovich, Frankie Pratt, Simon Robbie, William Floyd Raffeld, Phyllis Apple Reckler, George Rivas, William Bill Rodman, Minna A. Rosenthal, Michael David Schatz, Benjamin D. Schwartz, Nathan N. Schulman, Nellie Schwader, Solomon Schwader, Rita J. Sigmund, Bertha Simons, Celeste Lewin Sobel, Fanny Spire, Harry Steinberg, Lawrence Strauss, Erwin Tanzer, Joni Talpers, Jack Tinberg, Bernie L. Weicker, Augusta W. Weinberg, Martin Weiss, May Wolf, Edward Yabrov, Henry A. Zellinger, Morris Mandel Zivin. And we add 10 more From the city of Colleen, for whom our finer chapel is dedicated, Werner Gutmann, Arnost Halberstadt, Thomas Halberstadt, Anna Halberstatova, Margetta Halberstatova, František Hammerschlag, Ludwig Hammerschlag, A. Hammerschlagova, and P. Hammerschlagova, and Emil Hex. Are there others for whom you are saying Kaddish whose names we did not say? If you're at home, say them out loud or type them in. I invite you now, if you are in the first 30 days of mourning the loss of a loved one, to rise as you are able. If you're in the first year of mourning the loss of a loved one, I invite you to rise as you can. And if this Shabbat marks for you the Yortzeit or the anniversary of the passing of a loved one, I invite you to rise as you are able. And now we all rise to stand with you and to stand for those who have none to stand for them as we recite the words of the mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkarash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon uvyomechon uvchaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehe shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'le'omei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar, v'yit'aleh, v'yithalal, shemei dekudesha brichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, ta'amiran be'alma v'yimru amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved, and let us say, Amen.
And let us say, Amen. And let us say, Amen. And let us say, Amen.
I've brought up an assistant to help us.
Is he going to read the announcements?
Yeah, he's going to give announcements. And then we're going to do Kiddush and Motzi. You want to read the announcements? No. Okay. We'll do it. That's fine. So, a couple of things for... This is my son, Neil. You wave. Hi. A couple of things. Shabbat continues in the morning. We have a whole bunch of things that are happening. First of all, tomorrow we are having Torah study with a special and wonderful guest teacher, Rabbi Alyssa Stanton, who is a beloved member of our community and our clergy community. So she will be teaching tomorrow morning at 9:30 a.m. That is on Zoom. If you have the link, if you need the link, let one of us know, or streamed to Facebook and our website. At 11 o'clock, our community service, which will be in the chapel, led by Bob Emmerman and Lee Erickson, with guest appearance by the one and only Francie Myron, who is reading Torah and giving a Devar Torah. That's 11 o'clock in the chapel, also on Facebook and our website. Meanwhile, at 9 o'clock in the morning, we will be celebrating the bar mitzvah of Ryan Acker in here. At 11:30, we will be having the bar mitzvah of Micah Dion in here. That's with me and Steve. And those are, as always, streamed to channel 2 of our website or the B'nai Mitzvah page. Other things, oh boy, howdy, to know. We got a lot going on. Next Thursday, if you're not already registered for our Women's Sacred Journey class, 1 of 3 with Ariella Halevi, don't miss it. On Thursday, the 2nd of June, we have an amazing opportunity as a part of our partnership with Valley Beit Midrash to learn with Rabbi Dr. Daniel Roth. He wrote an incredible book that he's going to be talking about called Third-Party Peacemakers in Judaism. It's free for all temple community members to participate, and it's all in our e-notes, but I can tell you more about that if you want. And then, oh my gosh, what happens on the 3rd of June?
The 3rd of June is our first outdoor Shabbat. We're going to put the tent back up on the lawn out here. Hopefully it won't snow on the 3rd of June. And we will begin every Friday night being outside in the beautiful, hopefully beautiful weather under the tent. And we welcome you to join us.
On the 4th, immediately following that, is Shavuot. On the 5th is Shavuot Yizkor. So for those of you that are in a period of mourning, don't forget that we have Yizkor not just on Yom Kippur, but in all of our 3 festivals, Shavuot, Passover, and Sukkot. On Friday the 10th, we have guest speaker Rabbi Laura Geller celebrating 50 years of women in the rabbinate and the 100th anniversary of the first bat mitzvah, talking about the power of women in faith. And then our fundraiser where we get to honor Rabbi Stephen Foster and Senator Joyce Foster with Super Diamond. Neil Diamond.
Neil Diamond, that's right.
Check everything for all of the things. Do you want some juice? Should we say the blessing? Here we go.
All right, we're going to do the long one tonight. You ready? Here we go. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodesho v'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu Zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit Ki hu yom techila lemikra kodesh Zecher litziat Mitzrayim Kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta Mikol hamim V'shabbat kodshecha Be'ahava uvratzon Hinchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat Amen L'chaim. All right.
Doesn't trust me to drink it. It's delicious.
It's really good.
Go
yeah.
nuts.
And we know we've made some progress. We've made a little bit of progress in the COVID battle.
The battle
If
for
nothing
challah.
else, that we have a full-size challah now instead of the tiny little dinner roll challah. So, look, aren't those beautiful? Those are beautiful. My wife made those challahs, not this one.
Ready?
This one's from the store.
Pull it.
Ready? Pull that cover off. Oh, whoa! Look at that. Here we go. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. Would you like to grab some challah?
I will grab some for you. Go down.
Yummy. Okay.
And we're going to sing our closing song and send you back out into the snow to enjoy the rest of your Shabbat.
That's right. A classic. Adon olam asher malach b'terem kol yitzir nivra leid nasa b'chefzo kol azai melech shemo nikra Kichlot hakol levado yimloch nora vehu haya vehu hove vehu yeh vetifara vehu echad ve'ein sheni lehamshilo Veli reshit, veli tachlit, velo haos, v'hamisra. V'chai go'ali v'tzurchem li b'eit tzara v'hu nisi umanos li menat kosi b'yom ekrav b'yado afkid ruchi b'eit yishan va'ayira ve'im ruchi geviati Adonai li ve'lo ira ve'lo ira.
Yehi ratzon milfanecha, may it be your will, God, that we have a moment to take our big, deep Shabbat breath, and that we let what is planted in our souls be full of what we need to make this world a better place, to heal ourselves and those that are around us, and to let the land heal so that it can grow for us, so that we can grow for each other. And so we ask your blessing, God. Tatzidenu l'shalom. Help our steps be steps of peace. Tadrichenu l'shalom. May our paths that we each walk be paths of peace. And we say together, Amen. And Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.